Thank you for tuning in to this previously recorded webinar. We're pleased to co-host this session with Pinterest, titled Drive Traffic and Sales with Pinterest Product Pins. Launch quickly and optimize for success with Mercent Data Services. Before we begin, it's important to note that this presentation was recorded on August 15, 2013. At the time of this recording, all information presented was current and up to date. As is the nature of e-commerce, it's likely that new features or changes may have been made since the time of this recording. Please contact Mercent or Pinterest for information about the most current features of this program and how to get started. And with that, I'll introduce our presenters. As always, we're joined by Eric Best, Mercent's CEO and Chairman. He's joined by Anthony Guarino, Mercent's Director of Shopping Programs. And we're very pleased to welcome our co-host for today's presentation, John Yee, Marketing Developer Manager at Pinterest. Today's discussion will focus on how to engage shoppers with Pinterest pins and the business opportunity that represents for retailers. We'll then dive into the specifics of Mercent Retail for Pinterest, as well as some of the best practices that will help bring your Pinterest product pins to life. So with that, I'm pleased to hand it over to Eric.
Great, thanks Danny, and welcome everyone to the session today. Again, very excited to be co-presenting with Pinterest on an exciting new topic we think is very relevant to our clients pre-holiday. So just a quick couple of points on Mercent. Most of you probably know us well, but just as a recap in terms of our focus and value proposition, we operate a SaaS platform and provide a data optimization team that today serves more than 525 major retail brands. And we're focused on a few important business benefits for our clients. At the product SKU level, we're helping our retail customers be more visible with their products and offers, more competitive with their pricing and promotions, and ultimately the business objective of every business to generate a profitable campaigns net of the cost of goods sold, your fulfillment costs, and your advertising spend. And we're thinking about our business in terms of business life cycle flywheel here that's presented on the slide. It starts with being able to monitor retail activity in the market, your competitors' assortment and prices, bring that information to bear on the prices and offers that you're promoting for a given assortment on an individual channel or across your digital marketing and e-commerce channels. Serving the offer is a big part of what we'll talk about today with Pinterest. And of course, understanding where the utility and performance lies, we provide our analytics platform that helps customers track the results. And at the center of all of this, of course, is the fact that we have your product catalog with real-time pricing and offers, COGS and margin, real-time inventory in one central place, and we're privy to the orders that are flowing through your shopping cart as well as third-party carts, the likes of Amazon and eBay. So with that, very pleased to turn the presentation over to John Yee. Again, John is the Marketing Developer Manager for Pinterest. He works with Mercent and other companies that are in the marketing and advertising technology space, and his role is to help make Pinterest easier to use and more effective for businesses. So with that, pleased to hand it over to John. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Eric, and thanks everyone for joining us today. I recognize that your time is very valuable and the options that you have for marketing platforms are also plentiful. And so Anthony, Eric, and I have done our best to design this webinar content and our nascent partnership to maximize value to you so that you can meet and hopefully far exceed your business objectives. So what I'd like to do is to share a brief perspective on Pinterest as it relates to businesses and about our goals for pinners as well as for brands and businesses. And then finally to invite you to drive more relevant traffic and potential sales with what we call Pinterest product pins. So first, let's talk a bit about discovery. Discovery, of course, happens all the time in the real world. It's how we learn about everything around us, how we find what interests us, what inspires us, and ultimately what we're passionate about. Businesses out in the real world are actually designed to foster discovery. You can walk into a retail store, look for something very specific, but also discover new things along the way. Merchandisers are getting more and more sophisticated about store layouts, what they put on which aisle, what type of products and projects to organize together. And these experiences are designed to encourage browsing and discovery. And ironically, the web, I think, has a bit of catching up to do. Some tools on the web are great for specific investigation, that is finding something that you basically already know that you're interested in. They're excellent for specific questions like, where's the nearest outdoor equipment store, or what's the weather like in Santa Barbara, but arguably not as good for broader discovery. When we're in the mood to discover, our queries are different. So a query on a search engine that might be Pfeiffer State Park, Big Sur, California, could become, where should I go for my next travel adventure in California? And search doesn't do a great job with this. If you notice that the top search results here, it's about best dog-friendly vacations, and I don't even happen to have a dog. So on Pinterest, where people are curating the web's information and associating content with their interests, discovery can be beautiful, can be seamless and enjoyable. Discovery can lead to inspiration and ultimately to action. By now, most of us are probably familiar with Pinterest's visually oriented layout. Pinterest is designed for discovery, and the query that resulted in this view of boards was actually summer outdoor adventure, and it returned a wealth of interest-based pin boards, or as we call them, boards, that are categorized by interest. Some of the board names include outdoor inspiration, outdoor adventure, eco-venture summer, and island life. So because pinners are curating the web according to their self-proclaimed interests, other pinners can ask questions like, where should we go this weekend with the kids, or simply enter California adventure travel, and get a really compelling result, which allows us to discover content, imagery, products, services, and experiences shared with it by other pinners who might have overlapping interests. The user experience on Pinterest is inherently brand-oriented. Rather than connecting people to friends specifically, Pinterest is actually designed to connect people to the things that they love in the form of content that's more often than not oriented to a brand or business, which of course is a great opportunity for you. Pinners can also easily ask questions like, what gear do we need for our adventure, and find products curated by interest. So if I decided that I want to make a brand query for my favorite outdoor gear retailer like backcountry.com, it results in boards that are aligned to interests. Rather than listed just by product name, they're interests like fly fishing. And of course, we can expect in that board to have all the gear and the gear photos that are required, whether it be the fishing rod to the reel to tackle boxes and everything else, but it also includes photos of customers using products and commenting on the product pins about their experiences and their opinions, which inspires me further to get the gear that I need and to take the plunge and really take that trip. With one click, I can follow boards or even the entire brand account if I want to subscribe basically to see more content from this company in my feed in the future. So again, by allowing people to make the web personal, curating content into themes that matter to them, Pinterest becomes the best way for everyone to discover relevant, interesting information based on what we call their interest graph. Product content is an essential part of that. We can think of a pin perhaps as a visually appealing piece of actionable content. So as people take these atoms or pieces of content and organize them into boards, they're actually creating places that allow others to discover also. By virtue of a piece of content being included in a board with other things, people are also creating relationships between those things. So a single product like a tent can appeal to different people in different ways. So in this example, when REI pins an article about how to care for your tent with a photo or an image of a tent, it gets repinned by pinners. The red rectangle on the left indicates that this pin was actually repinned 103 times. So these repins live on 103 different personal boards, and each of those represents an interest of a different pinner. Some pinners repin the tent tips to categories you might expect, like travel, camping. That's, I guess, to be expected. One pinner added it to a board called Backyard Heaven, where, interestingly, it's more than about camping necessarily. It's about family fun in the backyard, and it includes pins about barbecuing as well as games that they can play. And one pinner, this is a bit surprising to me perhaps, but seems to have listed this pin or included it in a board about emergency preparedness, especially for the oncoming zombie apocalypse. But the point is, these varying interests can help the product get discovered in ways that you, as the retailer, didn't necessarily count on, which can also help you to gain new insights about potential customers. So there are networks that connect you to friends. There are networks that connect you to professional relationships. Pinterest is a network that connects people to the things that they love. With these connections, or these collections, people are organizing the web in a way that makes sense to them. So it turns out that making this network of human collections facilitates a new and better way to discover. So now that we talked about the basics of Pinterest and how it inspires people to discover the things that they love and actually do those things, we should talk a bit about how businesses can incorporate Pinterest and use Pinterest to your best benefit, which also then adds value for pinners. So first, we can inspire more pinning. We believe that inspiration should be with you everywhere, and thus businesses can help by making pinning more ubiquitous. By adding the Pin It button to your sites and apps is the simplest, easiest way to inspire pinning. Many on the call have probably already implemented things like the Pin It button, but I would venture to guess that many have not. With just a couple of lines of code, you can actually make it really easy for people to add your products and your content into their interest graph. And since this typically results in more people seeing your content, it often results in more traffic also coming back to your site. So once you've implemented the basics, of course, as good marketers, we'll want to optimize. We'll want to measure, to learn which of your efforts are working best and doing more of that. Learn what's not working as well to improve it, or if it's really not working, to do less of it. So with a verified business account, you're able to access Pinterest Analytics, which is shown here on the screen. This screenshot shows you a lot about your domain's activity on Pinterest, to include the number of pinners, pins, repins, impressions, and reach. Repins is actually a very strong indicator of resonance, perhaps even more so than pins, and can tell you which products are trending in the minds and the interests of your customers and potential customers. And again, this requires a verified business account, but this is easy and free, and your Mercent account managers can help you with this. So once you're armed with this knowledge, you can start to build upon current success and implement some more advanced strategies. So we've talked again about the Pin It button. They encourage pinning, but you should also optimize their location, size, type, just like anything else you've optimized on your website. Monitor Pinterest Analytics and your conversion information to optimize to your specific marketing objectives. Remember that pins are critical, but repins are an even stronger indicator of resonance. Ideally, lots of pins are created by your customers, but they can also come from your marketing team and merchandisers. REI's marketing team, whose boards are actually depicted here, is doing a terrific job of building out an assortment of boards for customers to follow. And rather than just organize into product categories, they're organizing into interest and inspiration boards. So as a pinner myself, I'd admit that I'm not interested in every model of a Kelty brand backpack, but I am interested in backpacking, and I'd follow that board. Remember what we already discussed about discovery and inspiration and action. So now that you're actively facilitating pinning, repinning, and following, you can start to make significant improvements to the pinner experience with your brand by making pins more useful. And what do we mean by useful? Pinterest is not, at the end of the day, a place where people just come to curate pretty pictures. It is a place that we believe should inspire people to connect with and discover the things that they love and then actually act upon those things. So the way that we actually look at adding utility and adding value here with product pins is that you can use rich data as a way to take existing pins and augment them with accurate and timely information. Product pins with rich data help pinners understand what exactly is being represented. So on the left, you see what looks like a blue backpack. This pin becomes not just a blue backpack, but with rich data becomes a blue backpack from REI called the Flash 18 that costs $34.50, is in stock, and when clicked on, I can be confident as a pinner that I will go to a page where I can get more information about it, and if I decide to, I can purchase it. Now that's a useful pin. So how do you as an internet retailer get your rich data into product pins? Well, Mercent can help, and Anthony will be talking more about that in detail in just a minute. So what else does Pinterest have in store? Well, along those same lines of making Pinterest useful, now that we are taking in rich data about product pins, we can monitor this data and do things like alert users when there's been something that is to their advantage, like a price drop. By doing this, we add value not just for the user or the pinner, but also, of course, for the retailer, where at the end of the day, you're wanting to move products off the shelves. With that, I'd like to hand it over to Anthony, who can talk more about the integration, which allows product pins to be leveraged by everyone on the call in a very seamless and efficient fashion.
Thanks, John. As Eric and John said, we're really excited today to talk about our new integration with Pinterest. We've been working with the team there based on a lot of feedback from our clients about ways to extend their Mercent integration to new and exciting avenues, new and exciting channels. So we're all really excited today. I know there's a lot of people on the call interested about more information about how they can turn their existing Mercent integration into something more useful and improve conversion for their existing traffic from Pinterest. So what are Pinterest product pins? A recent study from Internet Retailer showed that Pinterest is the fastest growing source of social traffic for all retailers. So many of you on the call today may have very advanced Pinterest accounts. Some of you may be new to Pinterest and actually first time discovering that users are pinning your products, even if there's not an internal team that's actually curating your Pinterest presence. The recent study from Internet Retailer showed the value of traffic from Pinterest, yet we really haven't seen any data to really describe the conversion opportunity and valuing that traffic against paid advertising channels to better understand where to allocate resources and where to best optimize your existing traffic on Pinterest. And that's what we hope to solve here with our integration. As John said, Pinterest is about discovering useful things. Pinterest is a discovery channel. It connects people with the things that they love. However, as a retailer, when somebody pins your product, you're always concerned about the representation of your brand, how to merchandise that product, how to make sure that your product information is accurate and timely, and how to make sure that your shoppers or potential shoppers are having the best experience possible with your content and your products that are hosted on Pinterest. So product pins help turn that discovery into actual shopper action. Having richer data into your pins helps improve the initial discovery phase, helps pinners understand what your product is and receive more information about that, but it also gives them timely information like availability and pricing. We'll talk a little bit about that later. And finally, why Pinterest product pins? There's no ad spend. Pinterest is not an advertising channel. However, Pinterest is a channel that has great influence in all online action, specifically retail. So if any retailer has a chance to enhance their traffic and increase conversion from Pinterest, it's basically a no-brainer. So what is the Pinterest and Mercent integration? First, I want to be clear to everyone on the call that Mercent's integration is not creating pins on Pinterest. We feel, and Pinterest feels, that that is best left to the social discovery process or your internal social team. The intent of the Mercent integration is to enhance the Pinterest experience, improve the conversion rate of your existing data or existing pins, but not curate and blast additional data onto Pinterest. We feel that this is a great component that will enhance all retailers' existing campaigns, but also allowing them to own their own presence or allowing their shoppers to use things like the Pin It button to build and curate content that they feel is inspirational to their tastes. However, step 2 of the process is how we enhance the pin, and that's the conversion of that pin, pinned, let's say, through the Pin It button on a retailer's site, to a product pin. The product pin now contains additional information about that product that wasn't already present from the initial social creation phase. The product pin conversion will also be able to allow the retailer to add web analytics tracking to their existing Pinterest URLs. So if pins are happening organically, you may not be tracking that currently through Omniture, Core Metrics, Google Analytics, or another web analytics platform, but through the Mercent integration, we can add that tracking for you onto all of your existing pins that match the existing data feed. You'll also be able to add, as you can see, rich content, titles, descriptions, availability, pricing, and a description of your domain. Next, you have the content optimization phase. For all of you users of the Mercent platform, you have a good understanding about some of the powerful tools Mercent has to optimize content specific to a channel. Those tools are all at your leverage for product pins. So things like creating content rules to add brand name or features to your existing content can be easily leveraged on Pinterest through the Mercent integration. So you may find that your existing pins do not contain great content, however, maybe drivers of traffic. It's our belief that by improving that content, making that content more useful, making it easier to discover, and adding additional terms to that content that may not be present already will improve your overall experience and traffic, as well as conversion from Pinterest. And finally, once all this is in place, you have access to the powerful analytics within Mercent Retail as well. The Mercent platform will tell you not only what products are driving traffic, but the conversion rates of those products down to brand, product category, and all the information that is currently available within your data feed. It'll also tell you what products are getting purchased, and it'll tell you which products are actually driving sales, not only which products are driving traffic. We feel that for retailers to better understand this, it'll allow them to begin to better quantify the value of Pinterest, as well as better quantify the resources necessary to drive additional traffic and create a better experience for their shoppers. So here's a view of an enhanced pin. So this is a pin from the previous example, now with the inclusion of rich data. You can see the rich data and the conversion of this pin into a product pin helps add descriptive information. It does not modify the social content. So to be clear, the product image that was pinned will remain a social image. It will remain an image that was chosen by that user when they pinned the product, as well as the description down below. So when creating a pin, a pinner has an option of typing a description or a comment about that product. That will not be modified by the data feed. However, a product pin will now have additional information highlighted here in magenta. You'll see the title of this product as well as additional information that's linked directly to the Mercent data feed. This information can be optimized and better tailored to the content you're looking to curate on Pinterest. And here's a better view of what that content is currently. First, you have your product title. So you can see in this example, the title from the data feed is now added to that existing product pin. Again, this product title can be optimized, and we'll show you a little bit about how to do that later. We feel this will be a huge advantage to all retailers to better curate their content on Pinterest, adding an additional element to the already social curation process. Next, you have important attributes like availability and lowest advertised price that are now available and linked directly to your Mercent integration. Product availability will allow your shoppers or users of Pinterest to understand that this product can be purchased directly from your website and that it's in stock currently. And attributes like pricing will give that user additional information about the current value or current price of that product, and perhaps allow them to do comparison of that product and consider to buy that product directly from you. And finally, the product pin will also add a favicon, which is an individual icon messaging your domain or website, as well as including the domain of your site. So as you browse product pins, you'll see that these verified product pins now contain additional information about that retailer. It contains their domain name or their site, and it also contains the favicon, which helps your product pin stand out against other pins that are not enhanced with rich metadata. So here's a view on how to optimize your pins to add increased utility on Pinterest. This is all done very easily through the Mercent platform. And for those users on the call today, you're probably doing this on your existing paid marketing channels, but now can leverage this on your Pinterest pins. So here you have the original title. You can see that it's a very descriptive title. It may be the title coming directly off your website. However, it's missing additional content. It's a very technical title. It doesn't contain information that the user on Pinterest might need to better understand the product, better understand the features of that product, or maybe actually searching for. You can see a relative term like guitar is actually missing from this product. So by using Mercent Retail and the content rule functionality, you can now add this descriptive content specifically for Pinterest and update your pin to add content like the fact that it's a vintage guitar or that it's an electric guitar, perhaps content that might not be understood by just the image chosen by that pinner. You can also add additional content and features that may not be visible from this, such as the fact that it contains leather trim or the fact that it may be a limited edition guitar. Any attributes like that can be very easily added to the pin through the Mercent integration.
It makes sense that you'd be adding a lot of this information because in the context of the retailer's own e-commerce website, a lot of this data might not be necessary, right? You're already within a browse node or you're seeing the result of a search query, whereas if you're coming across this product out on Pinterest, a lot of those contextual cues are not necessarily available.
Exactly. And through the Mercent integration, we try to bring all of this information into our feed and leverage it through our content rule functionality. So like Eric said, category information like electric guitar or product type information that may be present on a banner or an image on your website but is not present in your product title can be very easily leveraged through the Mercent integration to better enhance and better curate your pins on Pinterest. So how do we get started? It's actually a very easy process. Mercent's done most of the legwork here to create this integration and work with Pinterest to find a way to easily enhance pins in a rapid fashion. However, first, we recommend that all retailers create a Pinterest business account. This is a free account and will allow you to own your domain on Pinterest. It'll allow you to begin to create and curate content on behalf of your brand. Many retailers we've talked to have already done this step, so this may not be necessary for some. However, we feel it's an important piece of owning your voice on Pinterest and your brand's voice. Like John said earlier, it also may be a good idea to begin to pin products and pin images about your products or your brand directly on this account. John showed some great examples earlier about how to organize boards for your products and how to inspire your shoppers or new shoppers to find your products on Pinterest. However, of course, Pinterest also has a larger social element where users of Pinterest and shoppers of your site may already be pinning your products, and this is very easy to find on Pinterest. So keep in mind that the product pins that will be enhanced will not be only those products that have been pinned directly by your business account or your verified domain, but also those of your shoppers or fans of your site that may be browsing and deciding to pin and take action on those products. Next, simply contact Mercent. We've set up a process and we have people on hand waiting to help you launch your product pins. It's about a 2 to 4 day turnaround to set this up, but our team is on call and ready to go to help you create this process. It is important that the product URLs in your feed match closely to those being pinned on Pinterest. We can work with your team to enhance these URLs and perhaps make a URL structure that better matches what's being pinned on many of your pins. And our team is capable and ready to help you. Finally, once the product pin feed is set up, Pinterest will simply match the pins or the URLs in your feed to existing product pins. This process happens very quickly and will happen each day as new pins are created. So as new products are pinned from your website, they'll automatically be enhanced with rich content each evening as Pinterest updates their data feed from Mercent. This process will continue to happen as long as new pins are being created from your site.
So on behalf of Mercent, I just want to thank Anthony and also John Yee of Pinterest again for your time and contribution today. John, any closing comments in terms of messaging to the audience?
I would just reiterate that this is a value add not only for pinners but also for businesses. So it is as good a mutual value proposition as I've seen, and I'm very thankful for Mercent and our integration that allows this to happen at a scale that is much more efficient and effective than we've seen it in the past. So we're very enthusiastic about the opportunity.
Great, likewise. And again, very motivated here at Mercent to get you live and expand your presence on Pinterest. So we'd encourage you to reach out, connect with us either via email or telephone here at the information provided on the screen, hello@mercent.com or 206-832-3971, or you can just reach out and connect with your Mercent account manager. So we want to thank you again for your attendance today, and we look forward to serving you in the future. Thank you.